Hello, welcome to KillCo. I'm Mr. K. Today, Glenmorangie. I'm here for the scotch. This is also a Doers and Son shirt, which is hilarious. But I got it for free when I bought one of their bottles, and it says scotch on it, and this is scotch. Now, the first thing I'd like to say is I'm just going to read what's on the box. Because there are 4 of these, and this is out of the norm for my reviews. I usually don't do more than one little thing at a time, and this is going to be very hard to edit. But I'm also going to be very careful, because my initial thought was, oh, I'll just drink all 4 of these, and it'll be fine. Then I opened the box. It looks like they're this big, right? So that's like, a little more than a dram. That's cool. They are much bigger than they appear to be. So I'm going to just have a very small pour out of each of these and probably save them for private tastings with friends and family, because that's always fun. But anyway, I don't know exactly where to start. I guess left to right looks good. You have to think about it. But it looks like it's going to be left to right. So, left to right. Thankfully, they switched it around for me. The original 10-year-old Glenmorangie. A Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. I'm not going to say all of that. There's a whole bunch of little paragraphs on the back. And as much as I would like to read all that, I'm tired and I just want to drink some scotch, to be honest. So we're starting with the original. Ooh, this is a nice box. They're snug. Oh, I'm going to have a bitch of a time getting these out of here. So editing will happen now. More of the original. Again, I haven't opened it. I don't know why I feel like you need to prove that, but for all you know, I could drink this every day, all day. I don't. It's like I don't know if I've ever had Glenmorangie. I think Glenmorangie. I'm going to assume I had one for one of the advent calendars, but I don't recall it. So we're going to be using this glass, and I'm going to be a slob and use it for everything because I don't have enough clean glasses. This is the I launched crowded barrel whiskey glass, which I'm very terrified I'm going to break. 8/25/18 over a year ago, and the Bastard's Ball, the second one, was just last month. I could not attend, but as I mentioned in a previous video, I will be going there later this week. Should be interesting. I hate flying. The crowds and all that are not fun. But it is the experience, which is also part of the fun, I guess. Honestly, I don't know many people who like getting on a plane and flying through the air. I don't mind it, but it's a great way to get sick, and it's flu season. So, first one, the 10-year. It's also been a while since I've done a scotch. I noticed that looking back at some of my recent videos, it's like bourbon, bourbon, Irish, bourbon, bourbon, bourbon. I think the last video I did that was scotch was talking about the whiskeys that you can have as a beginner, or at least ones you should try. This is very fruity. What is, hold on, I'll do a little reading, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. Single malt, yep. Tallest stills. White oak cask. Maybe that's what it is. It's just the oak. It smells wonderful. I mean, as far as scotches go, there's that distinct kind of. It's making me salivate, basically, but it's very inviting. Unlike your typical peated scotches where you go, oh. Some people do that. I've gotten used to it, thankfully. It's honestly making me think of of all the random things, a fruitcake, like for the holidays. You get kind of because I'm getting the maltiness and the fruitness, and it's making me think, I guess, fruitcake, which I have rarely eaten, so that's a weird one. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a simple scotch. I don't mean like it is simple. I mean it is what I would consider one of the pinnacle drinks if I said scotch. And that's unsurprising because it's one of the bigger corporations out there. Corporations? Distilleries who produce scotch. They're well known. They're one of the Glens, as I like to call it. I'm trying to see what the proof is. I didn't check. I think it's 43. Is that in the bottle? These are tiny bottles. 43. So it's in a nice little happy place. The next one is 43. The one after that is 46. Hello. And the final one is 46. 46. Nice. I'm going to get hammered. Tasting notes on this, I guess. Review channel, right? I didn't want to call this a review channel. I wanted to call it one person's opinion channel. It's hard to say much about this, honestly, as someone who's had so many whiskeys over time. I think I'm running into that problem that Rex and Daniel have, where there's so much that you're used to tasting in here that you just kind of it doesn't sit. Like if you taste something new, all these things happen in your brain. Where you go, what's that? What's this? Oh my gosh, this reminds me of this. This is your typical malt scotch from the Highlands, so it is approachable, agreeable. It's giving me a good burn. I think that's called something. Oh yes, Kentucky Hug, I think, is what that is called. I just call it a burning sensation because alcohol. Let me do the final little sip here and move on because this is going to take me forever. I'd probably have this with ice, honestly. That's like my norm. I think I've said it a number of times. My normal dram, let's say, is I will get a glass like this. I'll pour it to about, middle of the bulb. And I'll put a tiny ice cube in it. I have these, God damn it. Phone always has to do something. I have small ice cubes. I bought like a silicone thing, and they look like gems or diamonds, so they're like this big, tiny. I put that in with my regular dram, which is usually an Irish or a bourbon. Because again, as I mentioned, I have a temperature thing with any liquid, honestly, like water at room temperature feels gross to me. I'll drink it, but it's I don't know. I don't understand it. I just know it has to be cold or a hot beverage or warm or chilled. It has to be one of those two. If it's in the middle, if it's the same temperature as everything else, bleh, my whole brain just freaks out a little. This isn't too bad because they're not chilled, but they've been in my apartment sitting over here for the longest time. And it is a little chilly as of late, so the temperature might be less. I would say cellar temp, even though I'm not a cellar. But no, yeah, it's room temp. They seem like they're colder, or maybe I'm just colder. Again, it's cold out. That was wonderful. I will have to get an actual bottle of that. I've seen really big bottles of Glenmorangie 10, and I'm realizing now you should have one of those. As if I don't have enough. Take a rinse and moving on. I should also point out it's a Sunday, and on Sundays I go hang out with a lovely young couple on It's Bourbon Night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's lovely. I wish I could stream like that, and well, I'd have to have an audience first. So, have an audience first, then do live streams. As of now, the audience is myself, and maybe a few other kind souls. And that's perfectly fine. Again, I've said I'm not doing this for anyone other than myself. to document my own whiskey journey, which has gotten almost out of hand. I never expected to make these videos in a professional manner and use my education in any way to promote myself. But hey, graphic design, that's kind of what it was geared towards, is self-advertisement, or at least advertisement, which is why I didn't continue in that field. I never liked the idea of being paid to promote something just because you're getting paid to do it. And there are a lot of manipulative tactics that people use with advertisement that people aren't even aware of unless you study it, which I did. And then I stopped. All right, what is this one? Lasagna? La Santa. Sherry cask finished. Aquavita actually mentioned something about sherry cask recently. I think his last stream was about it, but I was out of town. I couldn't watch it. It's on my to-watch list, so it's going to be something I'm going to watch. Nutty notes. Nutty. Some people know what that means. Spanish, Oloroso, and Pedro Menes sherry cask selected from extra maturation. There's a odd thought. Elegant, full-bodied, single malt. Wonderfully long and smooth finish. Okay, so this is a Glenmorangie that's finished in sherry casks. That's what I deduced from all those words. And now editing, because I can't open this easily. Or I could leave it in. I won't. This is boring. And there's no satisfying pop noise either. It's very sad. Sad day. Here we go. I'm getting better at pouring. You have to be kind of forceful almost. That's still water. I'm pouring in minuscule amounts because this is one of the few times I'm having more than 1 dram. This is almost a mini review. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's a mini review, except it's 4 of them at once. Okay. Sherry cask finish. Oh. Hey. That's a familiar smell. For whatever reason. And I don't know why. Whenever something seems to be finished in a sherry cask, maybe it's even Oloroso, I don't know exactly the specifics, but there is a funk to me. It's like a mold or a cellar smell or some kind of fungus. And it's not terrible, it's like, eh. It's a little off-putting, and it's always only in the smell and only with sherry casks finished to me. I've also called it like a mushroom thing. So again, fungal for some reason, but not bad. You know, you can eat mushrooms; they're fine. Suffocating in alcohol, what a shame. Yeah, this is the problem I have with sherry cask. I can't get past that weird funk. I don't know why, but I'm not surprised, because that's one of the few things I've figured out about myself is sherry casks very often lead to me having a funk and a smell, a funk smell for whatever reason. Go with the taste, see what happens. Hello. Really? There's just a hint of smoke to that, or something, or peatiness. There was that thing I get, except not anywhere near like what I've had before. But it was a noticeable. This is a Scotch, and it's got this kind of tang to it, and it's not from peat. I guess it must be from the sherry. In this case, it gives us this thing, which I have trouble describing. Hold on. It's much less the second time. But compared to the first one, it was a very noticeable difference. And I can only assume it's the sherry. So the sherry finish, one gives me a strange funk smell, and on the palate it seems to do I guess what a Scotch can do is bring this slightly earthy taste. That doesn't sound good either. It smells like dirt. Or tastes like dirt. No, it doesn't taste like dirt. It is that type of thing you get from peat, which, you know, is dirt. But I don't know why I'm getting that. It's something that seems to have only been finished in a sherry barrel. Maybe that's another way for it to show up. Again, I review, but I don't exactly have the education. I have an internet education, so there are a lot of holes, and I feel like this is one of them. Where sherry gives me this funk smell, and on the taste, it's less and less each time I sip. The third time, I just barely even got it, but it's there. Noticeably, with the first sip, less so as I progressed. It does have a long finish. I just stop and think. But the bottle here promoted this finish of its, hold on, I'll read the exact words. A wonderfully long and smooth finish. The smooth word, that's always fun. Oh, that's good water. Whiskey water. Actually, one thing I will mention at the end of the video is that cocktails, especially simple cocktails, the old-fashioned particularly is what I'm thinking of, are really good. Like if I don't want to just have a whiskey or a dram at the end of the night for a nightcap, bam, old-fashioned, super easy. I already have sugar cubes. I have Angostura bitters, so that's almost all of the ingredients. And I have seltzer water because I like to have a decent bar-type atmosphere in my home. I'm actually working on making my own bar, and then I'll be able to record from there, which will be cool. Because as much as I like sitting at my desk and making these, it's not professional, I guess. That's fine. I'm not a professional, really. I am, but I'm not. Quinta Rubin. Check the back of the box. Now, granted, this is something anyone could do, but the simple fact is I don't know how easy it is to get this box set, because this is actually a good chunk of whiskey, considering. This is probably maybe, let's see, I think they're 20 centiliters each. Or 10 centiliters. Again, whatever. That's a decent amount of whiskey, and I'm glad that it's four separate selections. The Quinta Rubin, port cask finished. Ah, port. I wonder if port's going to give me that same thing. Probably not. I actually like port. Sherry, I'm not so sure of. I'd have to drink more sherry. Ruby red in color, inspired by the Quinta. Smoothness, long finish. Portuguese port casks. Oh. Okay, port. I don't know why, but my brain thinks of the word port and thinks like a really stout kind of beer, which is not what I mean at all. He uses the word smooth so many times. Sweet and dry flavors. All right. Oh, I didn't do this with the others. They all kind of look the same, but this one's much more bourbonish looking, honestly. There's a funk. It's a different funk, though. I'm gonna say that I probably get that just because it's some kind of dried raisin wine thing, and I don't like raisins. So whenever I smell something that's like a raisin, it's unpleasant. But knowing what we know, that this is one was a sherry and one was a port, two different types of wine, I think. That's my brother. He's the wine somm. I'm not. I have the very basic knowledge of wine, along with the very basic knowledge of whiskey. But I'm guessing those barrels give whiskeys this what I keep calling a funk, but it might be more of a raisin thing because again, they're grapes. They were in a barrel, so it's soaking up that kind of raisiny, grapey fruitiness, in some kind of bizarre way. And I'm getting it as raisins or funk. I'm just gonna say that. So whenever I get this funk, I can say it's kind of raisiny. That seems like a better word than a fungus. Fungus is off-putting for whatever reason, unless you think mushrooms. I actually like the smell of this one better than the other one, however. Not sure why. I'm just getting used to it. I have had 2 drinks now, so. Not much happened there, which is not a bad thing. I did drink some water, but just in case. Okay. Well, I wonder if those mouth noises got on the swishing. Sorry. I think I have a similar problem with mouth sounds, so I try not to do that. I try to enunciate my words and don't do that. I really just give myself the heebie-jeebies doing that. Okay. Try this again. It does do dry. That's interesting. One of the few things I did learn from my younger brother about wine is what a dry wine means. And I seem to prefer dries and not so sweet. Like somewhere in between, a balance of sweetness and dry. Too sweet, fucking hate it. Too dry, I'll drink it, but I won't like it. And this just did that thing where it feels like the moisture from my tongue just disappears. It goes like that. I just made a mouth noise. Anyway, that is the definition of dry, is when something that is a liquid that you drink causes you to have that. It kind of removes your saliva somehow. That's what makes it feel that way, I think. It's not a bad thing. It's actually, a good thing for some people. They like that experience, and it makes you want to drink more. So very dangerous, also, if you're not aware of it. I'm so thirsty. Blah, blah. Suddenly half the bottle's gone, and you're on the floor. Okay, I dig this one. I actually like this one better than the second one, but I like it almost. I think I like the first one less. So we're gonna go. This one is my favorite so far. Then the 10, and then the other sherry finished one, or wine finished sherry. Well, this is port, so I'll keep that in mind. Sherry finish always gives me that kind of funk / raisin thing. This, though it's a similar smell and kind of clarified the idea, was a port finish. So maybe I just have a preference for port. We'll see. I haven't gone after many of cask finished things yet, but we'll get time. Rest of my life, hopefully. Water of life should help with that, I think. That is nice. I don't know what else to say about it other than that it's extremely pleasant. And if I wanted to give someone a scotch to impress, in a way, I don't know how much this is per bottle. I don't want to know how much it is per bottle because I have a feeling once I find out, I'm going to be sad because, I probably couldn't afford it. I have to look these up after, though. Maybe I'll list the prices at the end. We'll see. Oh, water is key. Okay. Final. I have no idea how long this is taking. This is going to be one of the longest videos I've ever done, probably. At least to get to edit this part out, where I can't get that stupid bottle out. Opening. Yeah. That's when that happens. Sarcasm. I do not love when that happens. I hate when that happens. If anyone was wondering, this bottle was a pain in the ass to get the top off. It's still not even opened. All right. Glenmorangie, Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. What do you do, Mr. Bottle? What is your secret? The Nectar d'Or. D-O-R. I'm probably not even saying that right. D'Or? Sauterne cask finished. Huh. The golden drink of the gods. Nectar d'Or derives its lemony, honey, silkiness, and sumptuous finish from the rare Sauterne barrels from the most renowned French vineyards. Oh, these are all wine finished in some way, but it's different wines. Oh, Kevin needs to try these. He seems to be okay with some scotches, just not the crazy peated stuff. Rich, fruity flavored single malt whiskey, long and luscious, sweet finish. All right. The color is different from the other one. Huh. Let's see here. One thing at a time. Woo. All right. These are definitely set for a tasting now because I dig it. So if I want to do a Scotch tasting of one specific thing, these are great, and they're also cheaper than buying 3 whole bottles or 4 whole bottles in this case. Yep, same thing. Ooh. Yeah, it's definitely the raisin note. So this is brilliant. This is one of the reasons I did this, is to find out if I would learn anything new by drinking a Scotch instead of what I'm used to as of late, which is bourbons and Irish mostly. I returned to Scotch, which I actually went into heavily at the first of my career. I don't know, my interest in whiskey and spirits. I went Scotches first, mostly because of my father. He liked Lefroy and that sort of thing, so I had to get used to that. I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. But I am getting that funk, or that raisiny smell, which I can only assume from now on is due to, wine barrels. Because they are simply wine, I get a raisin smell, and I don't like raisins, so it smells off to me or something. It's not repulsive, but it makes me go meh, because I don't like raisins. I know I'm not going to taste raisins in this, and it's also probably why I dislike most red wines. I'll try them, but for whatever reason, I don't love them. It also has to do with the room temperature thing. This one smells a lot like the other one, the one I just had, except for this like pang I'm getting, which is probably sweetness, as it said on the box. It is a raisiny thing, but it almost seems like it was a sweet raisin. I could almost say, very, very, very almost say a chocolate-covered raisin, which again, I don't like raisins, but in my youth I have tried a chocolate-covered raisins, and they weren't so bad. Put chocolate on anything, it's probably better. Chocolate-covered potato chips, oh gosh. Pretzels, I think I'm hungry. Oh, hello. We're going back to that second one, where I got what seems like a peaty taste. What's it smell? But it isn't. I think it's just something that comes along with certain scotches. It probably has to do with the malt, honestly. I've been equating it to peat, but I find it shows up in other scotches that have nothing to do with peat. Like, I don't think any of these are peated. I think it has to do with either the malt or possibly the finish. And I'm damn certain that the finish is not what causes that, because I've had that in many different whiskeys that have not been finished in something. And usually it's a peated whiskey, but that doesn't mean it's because of the peat. It might just be a characteristic of single malt Scotch. Ha! Deduction is fun. I will say, I dig this one, but I don't like it as much as the one before. And it is lighter and sweeter. That might just really because of the wine itself. Whatever type of wine this is, I don't even know. Well, I know it's d'Or or whatever that means, but Here's the thing. It says on the box, the nectar d'or. So immediately I'm thinking nectar, I'm thinking honey. They even talk about it here. I don't know exactly what Sauternes cask means. I'm assuming that's a type of wine, but again, my brother's the wine guy, and to me it's just a word that sounds familiar and probably is a wine, but considering how many different types of wine things there are, well, I was happy to learn about the whiskey stuff, but once we get to wine, it becomes kind of overwhelming, is what I felt with wine. There are so many varieties of grape and so many different types of wine that it just hurts my head to think about, and so many different regions. Like now it's the Americas, France, Spain, Portugal, Africa. I mean, anywhere that grapes can grow. Different types of grapes, even. And it's too much. I'm fine to deal with, Japan, Canada, the States, Scotland, Ireland, and that's kind of it. Those are the ones that come to mind immediately. Are those. However, I know there are other places, India and a few other countries all over the world that do whiskeys, but the ones that come to mind immediately are the ones I encounter the most. Bourbon is one, Irish is one, Scotch, and Japanese I've only started to dabble in. I do know I love it, but I bet I know what that was. But Canadian is another one I haven't had a lot of experience with, but I hope in the future to have more whiskey review videos where I can try all the whiskey. So, with this, it is definitely a honey. I was going to say mead. I have not had mead more than maybe once in my life, I think. If I did it, I don't recall it very well. So I guess that's something else I have to look into is mead, because I really like a hard cider. That's one of my favorite things to drink during this time of year, other than a good stout beer, like a Guinness or something. That's something else I love at this time of year, as it is just the start of November. It is getting cold in New England, and you want something that is hearty and kind of just fills you and just. And for me, that's the sweetness of cider and the heaviness and sort of almost coffee-esque feeling of a good stout beer. So with this, do I want to put these in any order? Kind of have to, I suppose, if I tried all of them. So I would say, hold on. It's much sweeter. It is really kicking on that honey bit, or that nectar. It's nice. I like it. But I don't always preference sweet things. If something is too sweet, even honey itself, I can have like a spoonful, teaspoonful, and be like, that's really good. You try to give me more sugar than that. It's like, no, I don't want it. So, if I were to think about this, I would go with this one first. I'm kind of torn between these two as second, but I think I'm going to go with this one, the 10, because it's probably more available. This one third, and this one fourth, because I guess it's something about sherry casks that just kind of tweak me the wrong way. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. So, I just emptied my glass, and now I have nothing to toast with. God damn it. Until next time, Launcha. I should probably eat some food now.